Hi guys, welcome to Ask the Athlete. Today I have Terrence Ruffin on the show, not just Ruffin, as I referred to him over on Instagram, and I apologize again for that, but he took it very well, and anyone who follows Terrence knows he's just a really down-to-earth, amazing guy, and a really cool IFBB Pro, and I'm honored to have him on the show. It's going to be a great interview. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this, but without further ado, I'll kind of let Ruffin talk over a few things about kind of your competitive history and kind of what got you into the sport of bodybuilding. I think people would love to hear that.
All right. Yeah, it's I don't know if I guess you can decide for yourself if it's interesting or not, but I didn't get into bodybuilding until I was 18, and I like to say that's late because some of the guys I looked up to, they started when they were 13, 14, 15 years old. I didn't pick up my first magazine until, I was 18. And I had already joined the military. I had been in for about a year. And I was trying out for, like, the Special Forces. Because at the time I thought that was cool. It would be fun because I played Call of Duty or whatever. Totally different experience, actually having to feel everything. And I didn't end up making it. But I did learn a lot from it. I don't regret that experience. But I did end up making it. And while I was waiting for them to give me another job, there was a gym across the street, and I started going during my free time. And I started putting on weight rather quickly, and I enjoyed it. I probably put on newbie gains. I probably put on about 20-ish pounds in 6 months. I went from 130 to about 155-ish. Cool. So once I got my new job, I met up with these two guys who were actually in the bodybuilding, and that's when I found the sport. And the first bodybuilder I ever saw was Dexter Jackson. Wow. And I think he was a perfect example. Yeah, just saw him in a magazine, and then I really fell in love with his physique. But when I watched his videos, they weren't very, very helpful for a new guy. He would do his thing. He wouldn't say anything in the camera. Not very helpful for a new guy in the sport. So I ended up finding Kai Green a little bit after that. And I liked the way he kind of talked. I guess a lot of people liked the way he spoke. It wasn't as crazy as it is now, but it was a little bit easier to understand back then. He explained what he was feeling, why he was doing his workout, everything like that. And I started to kind of follow his training program in the beginning. So that was in 2012. In 2013, I did my first competition. I was 19 at the time, and I ended up taking second in the teenager division. I think it may be juniors over there. And
right, yeah.
Cool. And then last place in the open. A lot of people, I get a lot of kids these days, they talk about they took second or third place in their first show and they're disappointed. And to be honest, and they're talking about an open, and I'm like, that's nothing to be disappointed in. It's you should just use it for fuel for your next competition, and then that's what I did. For a year straight, I lived, breathed, ate bodybuilding. I didn't do anything else. I didn't go out. I didn't buy anything. I didn't buy shoes. I didn't buy extra clothes. I just spent my days going to the gym and coming home. And that following year, I won my class. I won the novice overall against a guy that was 200. He was fairly in shape. He was 220 pounds. And I was maybe 150-ish at the time, wow. Which was pretty impressive, I thought. I barely lost the open just because I wasn't as lean as I could have been. I could have been a little bit tighter. I met up with at that show, a pro bodybuilder talked to me, and he was like, you should try out nationals. And I didn't have any thoughts of that in my mind at the time. In my mind, I was like, I need to be around 180 pounds to do well, which is funny because I'm still not that heavy now. But so he talked me into doing it, and I went to nationals. It's held in Miami in 2014, and I ended up winning the competition. And I was the youngest pro bodybuilder in 28 years. I was still a lightweight here. I know I recognize that in the States it's a little bit easier to get a pro card for a lot of people, for a lot of us, to be honest. We have 5 pro shows. Certain shows even give pro cards to people who take second. So, but I got first place in my class and as a lightweight. And I think I had about 25 people in that class that year. And that's kind of how I started my career. This is before Classic came out.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I need to do the 212 now. I need to put on like 80 pounds and do the 212. And 2015 was just, me trying to gain size. And I'll probably talk about this more later, but at Nationals, I was 154. 2015, I spent the whole year in off season. And in 2016, I did my first competition. And I was only about 157. That was 3 pounds in that year. And I took third in my first competition, but Breon was competing at that, Mr. Olympia now, so don't feel too bad. And the second show I competed in was the Tampa Pro, and that's where I won my first competition there. So it's kind of the beginning. I've done 3 Olympias since then. Yep. 9th, 6th, and 9th again. So kind of my history so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's really refreshing to hear. I think you kind of commented on it yourself in that people get disheartened when they don't kind of go out and, I don't know, go pro immediately in their first outing. It's kind of like, I mean, it's something you almost don't want to. I guess you probably felt that, like you said, you used it as fuel to keep you going further.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Couple things with that. The first thing is I think everyone kind of peaks at different points in their life. I guess it's pretty cool that I was able to do this at a younger age, but then you have guys who turn pro a little bit later, maybe at 25, maybe at 30. So you really just don't know until you get there, type of thing. So just keep driving and keep pushing until you get there, and then, I had something else, but I forgot. But yeah.
Something I was going to ask is, you said initially kind of you competed and then you took like 4 years to just dedicate to bodybuilding. You're just obsessed with it. Is there anything that's kind of, obviously you were drawn to the SAS, which is like hardcore, like really regimented stuff that they have to go through, lots of mindset. Is that kind of what drew you to bodybuilding, do you feel?
The beginning, I was just, what got me into bodybuilding in the beginning was I just had the amount of muscle I was able to gain so quickly. I think a lot of people like that part in the beginning. It's like, oh, this is pretty cool. I put on 20 pounds, and I just started. This is going to be easy, just like this for the rest of the career. But that's what initially got me into bodybuilding. After that, my first time on stage, I really enjoyed being on stage. That was really, really fun. And it was strange because I was a very, very shy individual. I knew the speaker, the MC. I worked with him actually, and he made a joke that I was like Clark Kent at work. Like I had the glasses and everything. I was quiet, but on stage, like, because people really like my routines, and he was just really shocked by what I was able to do on stage. So and it was funny because once I stepped on stage, I wasn't nervous at all. I felt pretty much, comfortable. So that's what kind of kept me going. But during that long time of me not going out doing anything, I just wanted to be better and win. I wanted to come back and make a statement. And I just wanted to be at the top at that point. I think my motivation changes a lot of time. It's changed throughout my career, but during that time, it was definitely it was more. My motivation then was a little bit shallow. I just wanted to beat people, But as you get older, that can still be a part of it, but it kind of has to change at a certain point. You can't be just focused on winning in bodybuilding. at a certain point. It can be a part of it, but it can't be the only reason, because you'll definitely burn out unless you're like Ronnie Coleman or something. That's definitely not the reason to be in bodybuilding.
No, yeah, it's. I mean, just being honest, I think that's why most of us end up initially doing it, at least. And the fact is, you saw probably, obviously, you're very well endowed in terms of like genetics and everything. It's just going to be anyone who's at the top of their game. And I don't mean to take away any of your kind of achievements, because it's unbelievable still. You still have to put in the work. But obviously you went to the gym and you saw really good results initially. And I guess that got you to catch the bug. So that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
In terms of, obviously, we spoke off air and I said something really refreshing about yourself is that it's very clear that you stay educated. In fact, I'm pretty sure you keep up to date with the podcast, which is really cool, especially because a lot of the stuff we put out is not necessarily always at like super advanced towards your level, but you're still trying to keep up to date and you're learning from, I know, people like Joe Bennett, who's been on the podcast recently. I've seen you reference like maximum recoverable volume, which is really cool. How's your training philosophies kind of changed over time? Like, what are you doing now that you weren't doing initially?
In the past, I was definitely, it's funny, from watching you guys, I realized there's people think of bodybuilding as just one community, but it's not. It's multiple communities inside of bodybuilding, which is pretty crazy. And, but I was definitely on just like the bro split type of deal, training to, get a pump, and without really tracking anything, going by feel. And like I said, that worked in the beginning, and I think it works for a lot of guys in the beginning. But at a certain point, once you reach a certain level, you have to become a little bit more structured in your programming. And I reached that level. I told you I was going to go back to this, but in 2015, I took that year off for the 212. I only put on 3 pounds, and I was still doing my own thing. I wasn't really following a training program at all. Just going by feel. And then Joe reached out to me, Joe Bennett. He reached out to me maybe 2000, at the end of 2017 or 16, I can't remember. But I came down to Tampa and trained with him, and he taught me some principles and things. And then he actually wrote me a training program. And during my off season was maybe half the time, but I put on about 7-8 pounds that year.
Wow.
During that off. Yeah. And I was like, this made it, it's crazy. Half the time, but double the results from having a more structured plan, learning how to execute properly, train more intensely. And, it's funny. I try to tell a lot of my followers that a lot of pros out here they're so gifted that they don't ever have to take it to that point where they have to think about, changing certain things. They just train and they grow. And, a lot of pros do have like an innate ability to kind of know what to do
right.
to a certain extent. But for me, I realized that doing what I was doing wasn't working that well anymore. So I had to kind of learn more about how to build muscle and how to build muscle properly, what works. And that's what's changed the most. I've learned that I don't know everything, and I should learn from people who are smarter than me. That gets you results a lot quicker than trying to beat your head against the wall doing it yourself. Yeah. Yeah,
I think that's fantastic. I think there's a lot of people probably within any sport who have had success and even just like, as a stereotype, men just don't want to listen to like someone else. Yeah. They just want to do it. They think they can build the ship. They can do whatever they can without any guidance. We don't need any instruction. So the fact is that you kind of realize that, I think makes you a really great athlete in yourself, because you're going to go further. Like you said, you've already hit kind of your peak quite early in some way because you've gone pro, but now you want to go further. And education is the way forward for you. So I think that's fantastic. Is this kind of some of the things you're doing now, focusing on like, do you logbook and focus on like progressive overload, that sort of thing?
Definitely. I do it a little bit differently from Mike, but I'm more, Joe has me do it a little bit differently. It was weird though. I know it's not normal, but the first program he gave me, I was able to progress for 7-8 months before I needed to deload. Wow. And I thought I didn't know it was weird until I learned more. I was like, yo, that's weird, because I know in his programming you deload a lot more frequently, a lot more frequently than that. Now since then I do have to kind of deload more frequently. I just, maybe because I was newer to that type of programming, I wasn't used to it. I kind of probably had to break some mental barriers as well. I have to deload more frequently, but that phase was pretty crazy. Going through it, that was just last year, and my strength. As soon as I started logbooking, I was able to notice an immediate strength increase. I know, like I said, some people are able to just kind of subconsciously add weight and do stuff without thinking about it. They just kind of know what to do. But with me, I thought about it, and I'm like, my strength didn't really increase for a couple years before I started working with Joe, except with my legs, and I'm known for my legs, which is pretty funny. Like, somehow I knew just to do it with legs, but everything else, it was just kind of, I kept the same weight. But yeah, I definitely logbook. I usually keep the same exercises until I stop progressing in them, and then either I'll deload or I'll switch out the exercises for something similar and try to start from scratch there. And that's kind of how I usually kind of approach it now. My volume is fairly low. I guess people just listen to Joe's interview. Like, what was it this week? It was last week. But he basically does all my stuff for the most part. So it's pretty much what he does is he does it for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he kind of explained and it's obvious it's in practice for yourself, where once you get to a certain level of advancement, you're almost trying to eke out every little ounce you can. So if you weren't logbooking, potentially you'd sandbag and you wouldn't push as hard as what you need to. And so I can understand why, to get that, you're already so strong, to get that little bit more, you have to go to a new place.
Yeah, it sucks. I was listening to Mike was like, you don't want to be advanced. I'm like, no, you don't want to be advanced at all. But yeah, it sucks. Like, yesterday I was training back, I posted up some videos, and it killed me. Like, I was like, oh, every set was like murder. But I kind of you definitely have to take it. The more advanced you get, you definitely have to take things further and further. But then again, you have to be careful, because when I first made it down here, I just kind of was playing. I was just waiting around until starting my new program. I was doing my own thing, and I definitely started to overtrain a little bit. I was trying to, I was just trying to test out 2-a-days again, because I'm like, I'm not working. I'm just at home all day. Maybe I can handle it. But I did it for maybe 2 weeks, and I was like, nope, I can't take this much volume at all. And it was funny. I'll try to go back to the same programming I did for my Olympia prep last year, and I couldn't even handle that much volume anymore. And it was pretty crazy. I was like, well, I don't know. I guess it was just different. It was different, yeah.
But it's good that you even, I don't know how. There's a lot of lifters who probably don't even really know what volume is or what that means in terms of their training program. So the fact that you're recognizing that and you have a sense of recovery, the importance of recovery as well, is that something you focus a lot on as well? Kind of different, like making sure your sleep was on point, this sort of thing?
I'm not perfect with sleeping on time. I kind of sleep whenever. I usually get 8 hours, but I don't have a set sleep schedule where I go to sleep at a certain time. But I like I said, I work with clients, and I'm my sponsorship, so I don't have a 9 to 5, so I can kind of wake up when I feel like it. I've been thinking about doing some of those things. I forget the name of it, but starting to check my sleep quality and things like that. I think that'll be pretty cool to get into. But recovery, I definitely try to recover, do my best to do different recovery techniques. It's really cool working at the MI40 gym, because they have so many different things available that a lot of gyms don't have. They have this thing called the New Fit or Newbie. I can't remember, but it's a very new device, and I've been using that frequently. Using it tomorrow on my arms to see if they can help build some neural connections to them. Besides that, we have like infrared stuff, massage therapists, things like that. But definitely trying to figure out ways I can recover quicker, just so I can, you know, add a little bit more volume or something, you know.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's probably actually refreshing to hear for the listeners that even someone at your level doesn't necessarily have everything ticked off to the 9th degree. And like, that's good in your case, because I guess there's still room for improvement. And I think everyone has like room for improvement. It's just like when Joe came on, he's like, he's barely ever met someone who can't improve a bit on execution or a bit on their intensity. Probably everyone has a little bit that they can add. So that's really cool. In terms of your nutrition, kind of what's your general outlook with the nutrition? Do you kind of, I think in your off season, you do actually allow yourself to get kind of away from your stage weight so you can kind of train a bit more productively. What's your kind of off season nutrition look like?
Off season nutrition. So I have a coach who does my nutrition. His name is Matt Porter. And I've been with him since I've turned pro. I got with him 2 months after I turned pro, really. So to January 2015, and but it's kind of funny. Like I listen to him. Like his philosophy on things is he doesn't like to. It's weird. Like he likes to read his own studies. He doesn't like to listen to too many other coaches. So he can only can have his own ideas and thought processes on different things. And me and him kind of work different. Like I work differently than he does with my clients and he does with me. But I do learn some things from him as well. But typically, a lot of things depend. It depends on the person. But I definitely let's see, on food. Whatever works for the person digestive wise. That's the first thing. I think digestion is like the thing to focus on. No point in giving people food they can't digest well. And also I do think like if I don't feel like having oatmeal for one day, I'll do grits or cream of rice or something like that. You know, somewhat flexible with my diet, and especially in off season, not so much during contest prep. I gotta keep it the same. But in off season, if I want to do something a little different, I'll do it. Chicken, turkey, something. Besides that, I have my cheat meals once a week. And it's funny, right now in my off season, it's not so much that I really am craving anything. It's just like I'm tired of eating, and like the cheat meals, they're so dense. It's not as much volume, which is nice. So that's something. That's what I look forward to. And I'm a big fan of fruit. Like I could eat that all day. And but I got to be careful because it's not very calorie dense, and I can I'll fill myself up on fruit. So, but yeah, I'm definitely a fan of fruit. I know a lot of bodybuilders, like bro bodybuilders and stuff, they stay away from it. Yep. I think it's beneficial to have fruit, vegetables, different things like that in your meal plans. I like to vary my protein sources as well, and I am a mixture of like what's healthy and what's sufficient. Like I know a lot of people say, "Oh, don't do Mio because of the coloring in it because they're dyes." I'm like, yeah, but I'll be okay. I'm just gonna put it in there because I gotta drink a gallon of water and I'm already full, so I don't want to taste. Or like certain processed foods, I'll still eat it.
You're a fan of cereals, right?
Yeah, definitely a big fan of cereals. That's my favorite. I just had like a big bowl this morning, and I'll do another bowl post-workout. So, but yeah, I guess it depends on why you're in bodybuilding. There's a certain, like, to be healthy, to gain size. You can kind of do both to a certain extent. But my main goal is to get as big as possible while maintaining my health as well. So, but I want to enjoy it. So, I try to keep it healthy to a certain extent, but I'm not like a health freak either. Yeah. So
I think that's fair enough. Once you get, I don't know what your intake is, but how many calories do you typically consume in an off season?
Right now, people like to hear my macros because they're a little bit different. My fats are really low. I'm doing about 2 times my body weight in protein. That's 400 grams right now. 630 grams of carbs and about anywhere from 25 to 50 grams of fat a day. Yeah.
That's low fat. No wonder you need all the cereal. I don't blame you.
Yeah, it is low. You know, I've been doing that even before I knew. I've been doing that for a long time, and it's worse for me. But that's the first question I get from people, like, "Oh, why your fat so low?" I'm like, you know, my health markers are good. I feel fine. You know, digestion's good. So, and we've actually tried higher fats in the past, and it just my body composition wasn't responding to it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he first got with me, we actually did a lot higher fats when he first was working with me. I remember now, and it didn't really it didn't really work out well, strangely enough. So.
And then when you go into kind of your dieting phases for shows, what typically does your training or your nutrition change at all? Does it get kind of stricter, or do you reduce volume, or?
As for diet, the diet, he takes out a lot of the sugary stuff. Like I probably won't be having any cereal or anything like that. He'll change that out for something more complex. What else changes? As for training stayed. When I did my last competition, that was the first time I did it with Joe. We kept things the same until about 8 weeks out, and then he upped the volume by adding in some supersets, and that was about it. Some supersets and some trisets at the very end of the workout. So it didn't change all that much. He just kind of combined some stuff to kind of keep me working a little bit quicker. He maybe added a couple set, like 1 to 2 sets per body part, and that was about it. Mm-hmm. It was, and honestly, that last prep was the best prep. My strength was very, very good.
Nice.
I didn't lose any strength to maybe like 2 weeks out, and it was minimal. What else did we do? My cardio was fairly low this past year too, just because I stayed a little bit leaner. Mm-hmm. Normally, in the years before that, I would get up to 195-ish or 190-ish. Last year, I only got up to 185, and that was with some added muscle as well, so body composition was better. But cardio is definitely a lot of hit training. I don't particularly enjoy it, but Matt likes to have me do it.
Okay.
But yeah, I do that typically twice a day, fasted, and then after my workouts.
Damn.
Yeah, it's terrible. I know it's funny because I know most people, they say like you shouldn't do HIIT more than they say like he had me doing HIIT for maybe like 20 minutes at a time. It would be 15 seconds of sprinting on I usually do like an arc trainer.
Right. So
15 seconds of sprinting and 45 seconds of steady pace. And yeah, that was awful. Especially like after a leg day, because I did cardio every day. At a certain point, I did have to my legs were so sore. I did have to kind of switch it up to you doing like the row the row thingy. Can't think of it. Yeah,
row machine. I don't know.
Row machine thing. Yeah. I had to switch it up to that just to save my legs a bit. But oh man, yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
And during your
so that's kind of.
Sorry, I was just going to say, during your dieting phase, did Matt utilize like refeeds, or did you have any kind of breaks within your diet, or was it just a straight to show?
So the way Matt likes to have me to my diets is no cheat meals or refeeds until they need. I know some old school guys, they do cheat meals every week or whatever. Now I got my refeeds maybe starting at like 4 weeks out from the show, and I started my prep maybe 12 to 16, I can't remember. But yeah, typically I don't get any refeeds till a couple of weeks before the show, until they're actually needed.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of balance it, but you have to know who you're working with, I guess. for certain people who are newer to it, they kind of need those cheat meals so you don't go out and lose their minds.
Yeah.
But I guess as you do this, because for me, when you do this longer and longer, everything gets easier. You get more discipline, and that's been the case for me, definitely. And I don't really need any cheat meals or cheat meals at all. His refeeds are of mostly clean food, and then usually he'll give me like a Subway sandwich as well to get a lot of carbs in there at once. But yeah, that's kind of how he does it. I can maybe had 2 to 3 cheap refeeds my last prep. So yeah, not a ton either. I don't need a ton, I guess. Yeah.
And then when you go into like a peak week, do you have a certain approach? Do you keep it very simple, or what? Is there a lot of variables that are changing?
I think simple is the best in my opinion. Even with me, Matt keeps it simple, but I think personally too, simple is the best. If you don't need to change anything, don't. So basically, typically peak week 7 weeks, so 7 days. Cardio for me usually drops out on Tuesday. Tuesday would be my last day of cardio. Then we'll lower carbs. I usually carb up on Wednesday, I believe. Like I do like I don't do a lot of backloading. I've never really done that. We usually do a front load. And we front load on like Wednesdays. Thursday, Friday, we kind of lower carbs to make sure weight doesn't, I can make weight. And let's see. And we do a small, we kind of top things off the night before, but it's nothing crazy. No crazy amounts of carbs or anything like that. Like I could eat a ton more food, but yeah, because the biggest thing for us is, we definitely, like, especially with me not being a bigger classic guy, like, I have to make sure my waistline and everything is really, really tight. I really display my shape. So we definitely try to keep things. The biggest thing is digestion is on point. You don't want to be bloated or anything like that. We keep the carbs. The carbs I load on are definitely carbs I've been eating throughout my entire prep. So I don't do burgers or anything like that last minute. Typically just cream of rice. And that's about it. Yeah, cream of rice and rice. Backstage, still not eating a lot. Maybe a couple rice cakes here and there with jelly and peanut butter, maybe. Not peanut butter, but almond butter. And right before hopping on stage, I've done actually like a pump pre-workout.
Right.
His brand is Cellulose, which I really enjoy doing that before hopping on stage. But yeah, cardio drops out early. Start the food and the water intake. I usually up my water to about 3 gallons most of the days, except for the main front load day on that Wednesday. I kind of lower it just a tad. And let's see. People always ask me, I don't mess with sodium at all. I had it come in. He's like, what do you do with sodium? I was like, I don't do anything. He's like, but what do you do? I'm like, I don't do anything. Yeah. I do a lot of sodium actually throughout my entire prep. And luckily I'm not a person that retains a lot of water. Cause I would be very, very sad if I couldn't season my food. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think generally, I mean, like a smart approach is to keep it fairly simple, I think. And if you're keeping your diet fairly regular, you're not introducing loads of new wacky things, then if you're going to play around, you don't need to, you're kind of keeping everything in a vacuum. So you know what you're playing with, you know what variables you want to use. So I think it's probably quite refreshing for people to hear that you're using actually quite a simple approach and it doesn't need to be something crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people try to do all that stuff, a whole bunch of different stuff when they're not ready.
Yeah.
If you usually should look pretty good, the week before, getting close to a show. So you shouldn't have to do a ton. Yeah.
And then in terms of like, where do you go? What are your future goals and aims now? Kind of, what are you looking towards? When are you next kind of looking to compete?
All right. So, my weight cutoff is 180 pounds. And at the Olympia, I was 170. And in my opinion, I could have been a little bit tighter. We were trying to be a little fuller because I am a little bit lighter compared to a lot of guys. So this whole year is going to be just me taking a year to just gain some size. And a lot of people, oh my goodness, a lot of people don't realize how long it takes to put on muscle.
Right.
They say, oh, I'm going to do a 10-week bulk. And I'm like, that's not really going to do much, guy. You know? So yeah, I'm going to take this year to gain some size. Hopefully, we'll see how much I gain. I have no clue. Hopefully a lot. I'm already about, I guess I'm 15 pounds heavier than last off season. I'm 198 right now. I've never been 200 pounds, so I'd be pretty cool if I can get there. Let's see, but yeah, that's basically my next off season, and my kind of goal for bodybuilding is I'm actually pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with where I am, honestly. I got a bit, business from me being a professional. And also I'm able to travel. I love to travel, and bodybuilding has allowed me to do that quite a bit. I was in the UK last year. It was very, very fun. I went to London, Poole, Leeds. I visited France, Spain, doing seminars and stuff, posing seminars. And
oh, awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to El Salvador this year, so I really enjoy meeting my fans and being able to just teach them and show them what little I know, because in a lot of places, for some reason, the information isn't there, I guess would be the best word. Like in El Salvador, it's a little different. In Korea, I went to Korea and they thought Americans didn't carb load or cut water, and I'm like, who told you that? You know, granted they all look great. I guess they all do it, but for some reason they thought we didn't do it. I just enjoy meeting everybody and getting a chance to see them and interact. That would be honestly, I guess it's weird. It's really weird saying this, but by me being Miss Olympia, if I ever got to be Miss Olympia, the happiest part for me would be to be able to see more people, because they get to travel a lot more just based off the title. That would be the best part for me, just going around meeting everybody. Because it's fun. Even when I went to Korea, I told them, I was like, hey, I want to do a seminar. I want to do all this stuff. And I get there, and every 5 minutes, they was like, hey, do you want to go to the VIP room? Do you want to go away? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm down here. Let me chat. They even, like, when I did my seminar, they set it all up for me. And it's like, oh, we only had, we wanted to be small, so, we figured you'd be tired. I'm like, no, just get as many people as possible. But yeah, that's the best part for me.
That's really nice, I think, because obviously, I mean, for, like we actually said off air, there's people who kind of talk the talk, but maybe haven't walked the walk, and they don't have the ability to reach as many people as maybe we hope they could. Yeah. Whereas you've got a platform because you do walk the walk, but you're also able to talk the talk, so you can actually spread a great amount of knowledge, and I think that's amazing. So I'm really happy that we could get you on here as well, and hopefully reach a different crowd, and hopefully we'll end up reaching a different crowd, which would be really cool.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to my friend before I came on here, and she's like, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? I'm like, so she gave me some fake questions and stuff to ring up. And I thought about it, and I was like, you usually have like this one group of people who train very, very hard, but they may not know how to train smart. Then you got this other group who trains very, very smart, who may not know how to train hard. And hopefully, what I can do is kind of tell people, like, you can do both. You need to train smarter, but you also need to train hard too. Yeah. One by itself is not going to be enough,
Fantastic. And I guess I was going to ask you as like a finishing comment in terms of kind of if you had any advice to give to people who are looking to get into bodybuilding, future competitors, what would it be? And it might have to be different to training hard and smart now.
Man, let's see. Advice. I give what I should do, like three tips, I guess. The first one is definitely learn as much as possible. Don't be afraid to reach out to people who know more. And I think with social media, people are doing that pretty frequently now. Let's see. Besides that, get disciplined. Get disciplined, because motivation, it doesn't last always. Once you're not going to always want to eat the food or go train, but you have to remember you have a goal, and that's what gets you to your goal. Discipline, not being happy to do something all the time. It would be nice if every single day I wanted to eat all this food, but I really don't. I wish I could just grow and not eat, just eat like a normal person. That'd be really cool. But it doesn't work that way. And lastly, I wouldn't say it's funny. I wouldn't say find balance, but make time for your friends and family when you can. Definitely don't shut them out. You don't feel sorry for yourself because you're in prep or this or that, because you chose it, Yeah.
Amazing. And if people want to kind of find you, where should they seek? I know I watch you over on Instagram. I think you're amazing over there. Where else can people find you?
Roughdiesel.com, Rough Diesel on YouTube, and Rough Diesel on Instagram. Trying to do more on YouTube. It's tough for me to get these videos out here, but
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. But definitely on Instagram. Don't be afraid to hit me up, ask me questions. Definitely answer them, yeah.
Awesome. I want to say a massive thank you again to Terrence and everyone for listening, and we'll catch you soon.